Welcome to Inside Straight. I'm Larry Mazza, your host, and as always, I have my wife, manager, and co-host Kelly with us.
Good afternoon, everyone.
And I want to start out by saying this global warming is just destroying us down here in Florida. I mean, it is so hot. Are you kidding me?
It is freezing. It is freezing.
Yeah.
And it's going to have to pass soon because I'm running out of sweaters to wear on TV. I have 8 sweaters. I live in Florida.
I got a lot of long sleeve shirts. Thank God they also fit me from my pre-sentencing days. From before I was in prison all those years. I maintained my weight, and they'll still fit. But really, they got to be kidding me with that global. All kidding aside, it's getting colder. This is the coldest Florida's ever been. There's snow in Pensacola. There's snow in New Orleans, the Carolinas.
Right. That's true.
So there's something wrong. But I tell you what, there's also a group of scientists that are more concerned with the sun burning out, as they have evidence that it loses a degree or two, which is like throwing a feather off the Queen Mary. It's not that much take billions of years to burn out, but that can someday happen. And,
yes.
But we're still around in the year 1770. So anyway, it's crazy, but it's a great week. I mean, a lot of good things happening, as we know, and I know there's some comments and questions about Trump and the direction we're going and all of that stuff, that we've just been trying to sort them out. So let's get started with the comments, and we'll move on to sports.
Okay, sounds good. All right, JP from California. You mentioned Sacramento. They are 9-1 cents.
Yes, last week someone asked about the NBA and how do you bet a future. It's easy to take the favorite. It's easy to take the Bulls when Jordan's there. It's easy to take the Lakers, and sometimes they win. But if you're looking for value, if you're looking to earn on your 100 or 200, you look for odds, somebody that has that chance. And, I did mention Sacramento because after they had fired their coach, they got better. And they're still good. In the last 10 games, they're 9-1. And I also mentioned the Milwaukee Bucks in that same question or comment last week. They're something like 5-1 in their last 6, and they won about 5 in a row also. It's all about getting hot at the right time.
Okay, Tom from New Jersey. Great call for the national championship matchup.
Yeah, well, we talked about that week after week after week, so we'll just close out. I thank you. It was a good call. I mean, I didn't do it at the beginning of the season. I did have Ohio State picked and also Notre Dame. But to meet in the final game, I did that as the playoffs started, and I had beautiful odds on Notre Dame, 13-1. So that's why, it's among the reasons I didn't really give you a pick, because my heart was in Notre Dame. Although I had Ohio State too, I got 4-1. So if you bet 100 on both, you win 200 at the end of the day. So I didn't lose. I had a shot for the Notre Dame. But yeah, thanks for the compliment.
All right. Maureen from Cocoa. Go Trump.
Well, you don't have to tell me that, because I'm... Well, let's say this. I'm anti whatever was going on. Okay, I'm anti that. If it was somebody else coming in that was going to have the policies I like, it could have been them. But it was Trump. He was there before. I liked what he did. I didn't like the last 4 years. And yeah, I'm happy for the change.
Okay. Mike from Florida. Your guy hit $187 exactor. More horses, please.
Yeah. Well, the beauty of it is, if you try to bet, let me say it like this, if you try to bet every race, or, you get those charts at the track and they give you information on every single race, like when we go to the track, you read them all the time. I do too. You're not going to win. You got to zero in on something special. That was ridiculously special to pay $187. We're still going out to eat on that money. I mean, that was a good hit, yeah. And we'll have them. The horses will be there. We are still early on here. We're trying to build a staff that everybody can handle a different thing. There's a lot of work to be done, especially this time of the year with college baskets, NBA, football, bowl games, horses. It's just, it's a lot of work, but we're doing our best, and we're putting a lot of winners on the blog, which we're using more than the pick page right now.
Yes, we are. Okay, Glenn from Saratoga. The Biden crime family gets a pardon.
Yeah, well, I guess they do, but he left himself out.
That's what I heard. So,
Yeah.
but I wonder if he did that so that he could take the fifth if they ask him any questions. Because once you're pardoned, you no longer can take the fifth.
Well, that's not very nice for his family if he's doing that.
I know.
mean, because now they can't plead the fifth. They're going to go up there and have to be questioned by Congress. And if they can't plead the fifth, they're just like any other gangster. They could go to jail for 6 months, 3 times straight. So they can do 18 months for not answering the questions. So we did that all the time. You know, guys that didn't want to talk, we pled the fifth, and if we were given immunity and we couldn't plead the fifth or whatever the actual terms are, and we did it, you got 6 months. You came out. If you did it again, 6 months. I think they can only do that 3 times. So he just gave all his family a shot for 18 months in prison. But at least they're skirting the 10-year tax evasion. They're skirting 5-year gun fraud. Probably all the money they stole from China, or not stole from China, were gifted from China for using their name, and all the things they did. He knows they did these things, so he pardoned them. I mean, it's simple, you know. And I said it in one of my 2 cents columns that I would pardon my son. I would do anything to help my son evade prison. But if I was a president, I wouldn't lie about it. He would have been better off looking at the camera, telling the people, I love my son like you all love your sons. He has a drug problem. I need to help him, and jail will not help him. I want to help him. There would have been a way to do it, like a father. But he's evil to the core, that man.
Don't hold back.
I'm not.
Okay. All right, Jay from Detroit. You both look great, but we love Kelly. Sorry. Starting a Kelly fan club in Detroit.
All right, enough for him. What about a Larry fan club? Come on.
You already have a fan club.
We'll have to start putting pictures of you up on my website, on the Inside Straight website, like walking around the house in a negligee or something.
I don't think so.
All right, well,
I don't think so.
I don't know what else to do.
You're a hot mess. That's what you are. Okay, we heard your commercial on the radio. Great stuff. Thank
you. We did that with Brandon from First Pillar, who is, as always, is behind the camera right now. It's been helpful. I don't want to say it pays dividends or whatever the terminology is, but it's been helpful. We get a lot more calls. We got a lot of traffic and members. We're signing up members. We don't lose them, which is beautiful, and not so much for the info, the picks. A couple we lost it was because of, we said this, didn't we talk about this?
Yeah, we talked about this.
It had something to do with they couldn't use the credit card properly, or whatever the case may be. But I'm going to move on to some picks and some things that are coming up. First of all, last night we were 4-2 in college. The winners were Texas and Dayton. We put it right out there on the blog. Cincinnati lost. Then we came back with Bowling Green a winner, Virginia Commonwealth a winner, and UAB lost. They didn't cover the spread. They won the game. They didn't cover the spread, but that's the whole thing. So we were 4-2 right there. We only had one hot NBA play. Now again, there were other games. There were certain games we had liked a little bit, but we're not going to offer those. We want you to be on the solid games, and a couple of wise guy crews played under. The Knicks and Nets stayed way under. Total was about 220. Neither team scored 100. So is about 190. So we had 30 points to spare. And last week's football, before we get into this week, the games, this time of the year, and we put this in our blog, the point spread is very tight. Yes. And it's a time to look for middles, okay? Because the odds maker doesn't have 15 games and another 80 on Saturday. He's only has, whatever it's down to, 4 games, 2 games. So he can spend a lot more time, like I do, really, really getting inside the numbers, starting with points for, points against. We went through all that. Strength of schedule, very important. Who they're scoring these points against, on and on and on. It goes on and on. So we had Philly, for instance. When I did my line, I came up with Philly -7. The odds maker had him 6. Okay? So we couldn't offer a play there based on us. And really, there was no wise guy money. That meant that's a tough line to beat. Okay, if they don't play the game, there's no edges anywhere. There were no injuries in that game.
Right.
Barkley was healthy. Quarterback Hurts was playing. He had a little issue during the week, but he played. So long story short, because I had it a little higher, I found a 5.5, or maybe even brought it down to 5.5, and laid Philly for X amount. The day of the game, there were plenty of 7s around. Okay, so they sort of caught up to me.
Right.
Okay, and I took a 7.5. The game landed right on 6. If you read the blog, you could have done the same thing. That's what I did on the game. So Philly was a fantastic game. I started with the best. The second best was Buffalo. I put a whole analysis as to I didn't understand why Baltimore was favored. Okay. All things being considered, quarterbacks, you can argue, to me, they're even. If I had to take a guy, I'd take Josh Allen over Lamar, even though Lamar's fantastic in his own way. But I think Josh Allen is more of a complete package. Again, it's my opinion. The receivers, especially without the star receiver from Baltimore, if that was an edge for Baltimore, it wasn't anymore. Buffalo, I had the better offensive line. The running game, I gave it obviously to Baltimore, but I says without Zay Flowers, they can contain the run a little bit better, and they did. They did, although it was a high-scoring game, which we thought it would be. We definitely thought it would be. We said we had Buffalo. I was a little high. I had them 6. I had them 6, -6. But to me, that makes Buffalo a clear play.
Right, right.
They're getting 1 point at home. They shouldn't have been getting a point at home. They should have been a field goal favorite, 2.5. I mean, they had the home field advantage. Buffalo's not an easy place to play, and all the other things I said. And there was no wise guy money on it. And Zay Flowers was out. So my problem was, why did the odds maker make Baltimore 1? And there's something called reverse psychology. They do it a lot. They make the smart guys wonder what they're missing. And that's what I was wondering. Although I still went with Buffalo. I didn't switch. So those two were real good picks. KC, another real good pick. I had the -11. We went through the whole way I came up with that last week. Quarterback to quarterback, quarterback to run, the defensive line, quarterback to receivers. Then I went with the running backs versus the defense, the whole thing. And I had Kansas City -11. Okay? At 12 seconds to go in the game, Kansas City was winning by 11. My number perfectly. Okay? And this was the big controversial thing where Andy Reid called for a safety. The line was 9.5. That safety cost a lot of people money who laid the 9.5 with Kansas City. I had Kansas City in teasers, so I was fine. I laid Kansas City, you ready for this? 7. And that day, I took back 11.5. It was another middle. That was a bingo. And the funny thing is, I was watching the game, shut it off, went to watch the other game. I didn't even know about the safety. I get a text. Joe MX texted me, or a prop guy.
Right.
And he says, you got a safety in that game, you won. And it was funny because I knew I needed 2 points. And I told him, I says, oh, maybe we'll get a safety. Just kidding around. Then later on that night, when I checked my phone, I saw it. I went back. I says, they won by 9. So the problem there is, it's the smartest play possible under those, in that position, okay?
Correct.
Because it kills the clock. It just means there's no time left, you know. Theoretically, if they would have kicked and it would have been blocked and they run it in for a touchdown, now they get the onside kick. I mean, it's still ridiculous odds for that to happen, but they're even more ridiculous. Right. Crazy things have happened. So he did that play, but the reality is there's a lot of, it was in Kansas City, that game. So there's probably, let's say, 85,000 fans in the seats. You could be sure 80,000 of them bet the Chiefs. He
Yes.
screwed his whole fan base with that one. I don't know how he's going to get out of that, but he did what his answer. I'm not thinking about the gambling. That's not
Yeah.
I don't even know what the point spread was, even though he probably does. But he's going to have his answers to cover
right.
himself. But I just thought that's one for the ages. But it was good for me, so it was the right call. I'm a little one-sided like that. Okay, the one game, now this is what I said, Detroit. We had the -8.5. Okay. Actually, that means the 9.5 or 10 was a little too much. And if you would have read from my line, Washington was probably 10 points was a bargain. And that was one of the games. I also teased Detroit down, which I lost the teaser now. But I took Washington also plus 11.5, the way I did with the KC game. Who'd they beat? See, we have terrible memories. Whoever they played.
The other team. That's who they played.
Why am I not thinking about
What
it?
was their
Denver.
color?
Denver.
Their colors. Give me their colors, and I'll tell you the
It
team.
was Denver, right? Denver. No, that was Buffalo the week before. Who did Kansas City play? Houston. Houston, the team that beat the Chargers the week earlier, which we were really good on. All right. So anyway, those lines were all solid,
on this.
tight. We hit some middles. But that's why, again, this time of the year, it's a little bit harder for us to give you lots of games. We're not going to just force games out there. Ohio State, we had the line about 6.5, 7. Also, that game was on 8 late. So my number was right there, and it proved it was tight. It was just hard to see which side. And Ohio State hit a field goal late in the game, which the opposite happened. A lot of players won on that field goal, and a lot of bookmakers lost. Because I'm privy to who's crying and who's happy week to week. And it sounded like the bookmakers were unhappy on that one.
Okay.
To the tune of big bucks. So, but again, the line for me really didn't give me a play. I was rooting for Notre Dame for my future. Tonight, we have game 739, Kansas State plus 13. Two wise guy groups took it at plus 13. Our numbers come up around 8 or 9. We're giving you a freebie. We're giving our fans a freebie. Our members already got this morning, but you're getting it now. The line is coming down. There's 12.5s out there. If you don't act soon, it'll be 12. And if you wait even longer, it'll be 11.5. And there'll come a point where you're better off taking the other side. That's what happens with these games a lot. They do buy some back, but they're just taking a free pop in the middle because they have so much on the hot side.
Right.
It's worth just a free shot on the other side. Game 695, Kansas. Not the other one was Kansas State. Let's name today the Wizard of Oz picks.
Oh, we could
Let's
do
go
that.
to Kansas. Okay, Kansas -5. Same scenario. It is already higher. I saw 6s and 6.5s. Our members got it at 5. I'm telling you, that's what the wise guys played. And we have them higher. I forgot exactly what we had. A couple of points higher. And basketball's a little different, too. You know, there's the matchups. You know, we only do the starting 5 and the 6th man. You go deeper than that, there's too much. It's impossible, even with computers, you know, because a lot of teams rotate differently. They
Right.
play 8 players, another one doesn't rotate. So it's very tough, but we like getting our picks from the wise guys in college and then seeing why as to trying to handicap the whole board every day. And these two games make sense to us. And like I said, last night we were 4-2 in the college basket. So all week, a few nights ago, what were we, 5-1 in college basketball, 2-0 in the pros, 1-0 in hockey, or maybe 1-1 in the pros, or 2-1, because we had 2 losses one night, but like 6 wins. And I tell you that all the time. We may go a night or two where we win one, lose one, might even go 0-2, but stay with it. We're going to come back and win a bunch, 8-0 one night, which we put out there. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X. What else are we on?
Pretty much all of them.
Yeah, we're on everything. We're on everything. We're like Donald Trump. We're all over the place.
All over the where.
All over the where. Okay, so check the blog when you join. Join up, check the blog. You get all this information every day. There's not much else to talk about as far as sports. So these shows until March Madness will possibly be a little shorter. And we've discussed going to a few shows a week or almost every day where we'll come on and we'll talk about the games that are hot and why. But it may be a 15-minute or 10 or 15-minute clip. So I'll probably be in my work clothes instead of my dress clothes.
It's jammies.
No, not my jammies. I'll probably be in, overalls. No, I'll be in shorts and a Florida shirt, I'll have a pen in my ear, papers,
You're going to have one of those protectors? What are those pen protectors?
No,
Pocket protectors.
Too corporate for me. I would never do something like that.
Okay.
You're the corporate person. So, so now I think we got some questions, right? We went through that. Yeah. Let's do our questions and answers. I'll hand you back
this sheet. It's not like we can't each have our own sheet, but
we can't.
Why?
We're trying, the new Green Deal, we're trying to save paper, recycle, reuse. Oh, yeah, did you see that Schumer, what he said about one of the executive orders that was signed?
Yeah, for Doge.
It was
Yeah,
one of them that they can't tax a certain thing or they can't pull away the tax. Whatever it was, his answer was NFW. And he said, we say that in Brooklyn. It means no effing way.
Correct.
I'm not going to curse on the show.
And we're not drinking wine either. That happens to be grape juice.
Yeah, this is grape juice. If it was wine, I'd be cursing like crazy.
There's no help for us, actually.
But I'm calling it the new effing way of doing things in America. So he was right. I like NFW. We're going to have a lot of that around here. Okay.
Okay, let's
Q&A
go.
time. This is usually fun.
Okay, Ruthie from Florida. Do you really think Trump can do all he says?
Well, I do. Yeah, I know he will try. He's been left with such a mess. Where do you start? How do you do it all at once? And it's not going to be easy. But obviously, the borders are closed already. Nobody's coming in.
Right.
Okay? The ones that need to be deported in a bad way or in a real fast way, that's already in the works. That, what's his name? Holmes? The border guy, the border czar. He's already doing that. Most of the states are on board. Of course, the liberal sanctuary lefty states are going to try to fight it, but they'll be breaking laws, and some of them will wind up in jail or whatever. So I know he's gonna help with the pipeline and the oil. There's no doubt about that. He was so against all of that, as most of us are. There's a fraction of the people in this country that think we should have only electric cars, but that's not going to happen. And it's funny. You look at countries like Saudi Arabia, the richest country I think in the world. Their traffic lights are made of gold. Did you know that?
I did.
You did?
I did.
Yeah, okay.
Everything's made of gold.
I mean, where we have, traffic lights that fall down. They don't even stay up. But theirs are made in gold. Come on. You know what? I'm going to go there and steal the traffic lights.
You to say that.
No, I'm not going to do that because they'll hang me for stealing traffic lights. No, I'm not going to do that. But no, then you look at Iran. The whole country gets a piece of the oil business. They're all rich. Think about that. I'm not saying we should do that, but we should have our own energy. We have it. It's there.
Right.
It's there. And our ally in the north gave us a pipeline to send us their oil, from Canada. So that's going to also help him do the other things like bring inflation down, because it all went up for those reasons. And once it's less expensive to bring products from the factories to the stores around the country, prices will come back down, and he'll make some laws about gouging. You know, prove to me why eggs went from 3 to 9. Oh, we know why. Because gas went from $1.80 to $4.50. So to deliver that carton of eggs or those truckloads, it went up. Then, you know, so it's a chain effect. So a lot of things will come down, and if they continue to gouge, he'll do something, you know.
Right.
But again, it took 4 years for the trader to almost destroy the country, him and his cabinet and his crew. So let's give Trump some time to fix it and put it back to where it was. But I think he would. To answer your question, Ruthie, he will.
Okay.
What does he say? Promises made, promises kept? They said something on TV today where he promised to do something for another country, whether Jerusalem, give them back their capital or whatever the details were there. I'm not a historian. But they lined the streets with signs that said, promises made, promises kept.
Nice.
So, yeah, that's another country.
Okay.
And TikTok. Let me say something about TikTok while we're here. And I did my 2 cents either yesterday or this morning or last night. I forget. I was never on TikTok. I really don't know if it's exactly like Facebook, similar to Facebook, or whatever it is. But it's some kind of social media. I get that. Okay. I never went on because I thought it was childish. I don't want to insult anybody. Now I understand people are earning a living on there and whatever, but I thought it was. And I only knew kids were on there, and I knew it was bad for kids, all the things I was hearing. Okay. So why does Biden, on his last day, cancel TikTok? Outlawed in this country. I believe he thought Trump would do that.
But I think that was already preset, that was the date that it was going to happen.
Okay,
He asked for Trump asked for a stay on that.
Okay, but why? Why did it take 4 years? My opinion is a bunch of politicians were getting handouts from whoever runs TikTok, and we know it's the Chinese, right? So I believe a lot of them were getting a handout. But he figured that, or whatever, it was going to be shut down. So he got trumped again. Because now President Trump said he will weigh what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. He says, we'll monitor it, we'll manage it in this country, in America, and we will take half the money. And it's billions, maybe $1 trillion. I mean, it's a lot of money. Why are we allowing a country that hates us to make all that money in our country? We shouldn't. We should get half the money. We should make it an American company or partner up with whoever's running it, where we could monitor it, where there's no spying and no brainwashing, and for the finances of it. And that's what a brilliant business mind would do. Nobody else thought of it the last 4 or 5 years that we've been hearing about TikTok. How come Schumer didn't think of it? Or Kamala Harris? I'm not going to say Biden. How would he ever think of something like that? But they didn't have somebody. Who was that little one with the white hair? And she said, no, it's inflationary. Inflation is transitory. I mean, she was.
Is that how she sounded?
Yeah. What was her name? She was like the treasurer. She couldn't come up with that idea. It takes a Brooklyn developer who's now president. But that's what we got, thank God. Somebody that's going to think about making America the money. Next.
Are you done?
I think so. I think I made my point on TikTok.
Okay. Kenny from New York. Is the life any closer to being a movie? I think your story and the book may be the best ever.
Wow, thank you. It's still in the works. I mean, I'm almost dejected hearing that because I can't bring you any really good news. People ask us all the time.
Maybe things will change now.
Yeah, that's true. Now that Hollywood is going to be less woke, and they don't expect, the Godfather in my movie, whoever it's going to be gay or to be, whatever. It is what it is. In those days, we went through this. It's hopefully then maybe that'll be the trigger. Maybe Hollywood will see things a little different now, or a lot of people that are leaving Hollywood. We talked about that too.
Right.
We talked about
and people might feel better about the economy, so they're willing to spend money.
That's true. But you got people like Mel Gibson, Sylvester Stallone. Now they're ambassadors to Hollywood and the movie industry. John Voight. And I put in a Facebook blog that I think, or my 2 cents, they should have added Mark Wahlberg to that. Because he opened up a studio, a non-woke studio in Las Vegas.
He may come on yet.
I hope he does. And he's one that I think, we've been hearing has some interest in some mob stuff, and even my boss, his Mississippi burning story. I'd love to sit down with him.
That may happen sooner than you think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, Brandon, you might want to get the soapbox out for this one.
No.
Maybe, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We'll roll with this. Okay, Adam from Florida. Do you think the refs favor Mahomes? And if so, why? This is a limited time show, by the way.
They what for Mahomes? They pay
Favor.
Him? Oh, favor Mahomes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they do. They do, and whether it comes from the top, let me take a step back. Unlike other sports, the referees do not have to work their way up. They don't have to work through Sandlot to high school to college to the pros. Okay?
Okay.
They're all professionals, well-paid professionals, judges,
How much do they make, you think?
presidents. Well, when I go back several years, when I looked into some of that, they were making about $500,000 a game.
A game?
A game.
Not for the season?
A game. And don't hold me to the exact numbers. There's contracts and things like that. But that was a number. And the reason I said that is because the NBA at the time was making $400,000 a year. So it's still a great. I mean, it's not a hard.
Well, they don't play all
It's
year
a good
either.
living. I mean, I wouldn't mind being a ref, running up and down that court, staying in shape, watching great basketball when it was great. I wouldn't want to be a ref today, but you can't make any calls anyway because they're allowed to do everything they want to do. But they were already making big money, like a president of an insurance company, a judge, high-end stockbroker, people like that, where they felt they couldn't be bought,
Right.
and do things. But they had to pass unanimously by all the owners.
Are we
Every
talking
owner,
about football now?
yeah, every owner in the NFL had to check off on, somebody to be a ref. And I think this is my opinion, that part of that process is they learn what the owners want and expect.
Right.
And you know what that is? Money. We want to be the number one sport, spectator sport, whatever you want to call it. We want to be, have parity. We want all the teams to be equal, so the fans are always there, the fans. And a lot of that goes for betting, too. Mm-hmm. If you have a horrible team, but they're getting 14 points, and you bet them, you have a chance. You're not going to beat the Patriots, but you got a chance with those points. So you'll see there's calls that are made, like if New England's up 10-0,
Right.
and they get an interception and run it back, and now it's going to be 17-0, there's a flag. And nobody knows where it comes from. All of a sudden, there's a flag on the play. They call it back. They're not fixing the game. They're keeping it close. They don't want this to become a runaway. Sometimes it happens anyway. So the thing with Mahomes, he brings a fortune to the NFL. The commercials, the public love him. I like the guy. I really do. Everybody thinks I don't hate him. He just, he costs bookmakers a fortune just like Tom Brady did when he won every year, So, and then you start seeing things like everybody saw some calls that were made that shouldn't have been made. Mm-hmm. He didn't get hit. The two defensive players collided. He was underneath it, and they threw a flag because they heard the helmets hit. And then another guy like Goff almost had his friggin' jaw through his brain from helmet to helmet, went down, had to get off the field. They didn't make a call. Another one we talked about last week where it was a fumble, and they said it was a forward pass. The guy's hand went like that. It moved this far forward. That's not a forward pass. He wasn't even looking up. And at the worst, it should have been intentional grounding. So I think they would like to have Mahomes around as long as possible for views, people that watch, ratings. And he brings the ratings right now. He brings more ratings than the Cleveland Browns. You know, so they do. I don't say they're cheating. I just think they're overwatching. It's like a babysitter. Watch the baby, but you don't have to, you know, hold it the whole 12 hours you're here. You know, put him in the crib, you know. So, come on.
Okay. Mike from Florida. Where do you guys watch the Super Bowl?
On TV. Next. No.
I was waiting for that.
I would. Well, I would. If you gave me tickets to the Super Bowl, I wouldn't go.
No, you know, we've gone to a few games. I prefer watching it on TV. I can see better. I get distracted at the game.
Yeah. Well, the games you can't really see,
right? So
unless you have great seats.
Well, but in the box, the owners' boxes, and
yeah, they're not. They don't seem like great seats. You're right.
I watched the TV in the owner's box. That's what I did, so I could see.
Yeah, I would never go to a game for that reason. The long halftime would just bore me to death because I don't know who they're catering to on that. The commercials are extra long. So that means you're sitting, I don't mean for TV, that's no good either, but you could walk to your refrigerator or you can refill your drink at least. But you got to sit there while there's 5-minute commercials going on about Budweiser, you know. So, no, I went to the NASCAR once. Remember we went?
Yeah, we did.
It was like a 400-lap race. We left after the 80th lap. How many times can I watch a car go by and hear, then I can't hear it anymore because it's so far away. You know, I have no clue what was going on. They're getting on and off the track. But no, we're going to watch it most likely right here. We usually have a big Sunday party every Sunday. Mm-hmm. Have people over to watch the games. A lot of them are clients. A lot of them are members. And even my gym, I mean. But also Inside Straight. And some
of them are our friends, too.
Yeah, yes. We have friends. And we have several TVs that we put on who are cut in. So it's like a little sports bar, right?
Yes.
So there's a good chance we'll be here. It is a real long day. There's really only one game that day. Maybe a renegade NBA game will show up, but there's not college. Everybody's off that day for Super Bowl Sunday. They don't want to watch it. So there is this potential of us going somewhere and
usually it's at somebody's house.
It could be somebody else's house.
Right. We don't usually go out to a sports bar or anything like that. Not to a sports
bar, but I'm saying we could take a trip and go to and you know, be in a hotel.
Yes.
You know, where we're sitting out, relaxing, having a good time, take care of business, and then you know, watch the game wherever it is. You know, they usually have big TVs set up. It's a big day. It's a big day, but it's just it starts so late, the game. I wish it would start at 6:30 because it doesn't end till 11 with all the nonsense I was talking about. So we'll probably be right here. Well, you want to come?
We'll order food.
Yes. We'll order food from Alfredo's.
Yes.
Alfredo's Italian restaurant, Ristorante.
Restaurant.
Right down,
my gosh, that's
right down Courtney.
Oh, and you love the Donatello, the sub.
Yeah, he's got us, and he makes it special for me because he took it off the menu.
But he put it back.
He makes it for me. He put it back on.
No, he put it back on for you. He said.
For me, yeah.
For you only.
Yes.
It's right there by the phone if I call.
Mm-hmm.
Only Larry can have the Donatello now. Okay.
Yes.
All right. The life lover, Julie.
The life lover. Okay.
I guess that's what she goes by. The life lover, Julie. Or Julie the life lover. I don't know. Let's move on. We heard you paint houses. Is that true?
Oh, that's why she loves light. I get it. Well, I had to paint a house or two or four. Or a few houses I painted. But now we hire painters. As a matter of fact, we just had our whole room painted. We had the room painted. We had the cabinets stained.
Stained, yeah.
Bathroom, everything. The yard is painted. We're going to have a whole outdoor kitchen built out there soon.
Yes, soon.
All because we hit that middle.
Okay, you must have lied to me about the money we made on that, because if I can get the backyard done too, right?
Yeah.
Let me check in on that. Okay, Ronnie from New York. What did you think of the woman priest in D.C.?
Oh, God. Well, you don't go to church to get
Chastised?
abused, or what did your parents used to do? Scold you. You go there to be enlightened and talk about, I guess, I don't know, the Ten Commandments, maybe Jesus.
Was it for a prayer, anyways?
Right. Why is she telling him to go easy on the illegal aliens? He's not going to beat them up. I mean, he's just going to ask them to leave. If they don't, they'll be escorted out. And that's what should happen. They broke the law coming in illegally. So they're all criminals. Are they bad, horrible, terrible criminals? No. A lot of them have a chance to turn out to be good citizens, come back the right way.
Right.
It goes down to that. She had no right doing that. She should have been talking about hope for the future for America, just like he did, just like everybody else does. You know, so that was really Shanghai. You know, when you get Shanghai.
I heard that she did it last time too, and she was that way last time. So I don't.
To who?
I guess Biden when they came in, or some other event. She was like that.
She's obviously woke. Probably. Well, I'm not going to get into any more detail about what she is, but it wasn't right. And you know what? I probably would have got up and walked out. And shame on me to do that. You know, that's disrespecting the church and whatever else, just because I didn't like a sermon. You know, I could do it if I was like in the middle of the church and nobody saw me leave. But he's right up there, and you know what? He took the high road.
Right.
And that's a good thing.
Okay, we have no more questions.
No more questions.
I think the questions and comments today were longer than the show itself.
Yeah. Well, again, there's not a whole slate of football to talk about. So, you know, again, I'll say one more time, these shows will be getting shorter soon.
But more often.
But more often, yeah, maybe daily. We'll see about that, you know. And especially if we have the cameras, even if we're traveling. I could hook it up in a hotel that we're at or wherever we are and be able to, you know, look at the camera and tell them what's going on in sports.
We'll just bring Brandon with us everywhere we go.
Bring Brandon everywhere.
We'll adopt him. We'll just adopt him and bring him with us.
We'll bring a big suitcase he could sit in with his cup of coffee. But we thank you again for tuning in. We're getting more and more views. A lot of our members just watching on the website.
Right.
On Inside Straight, we have every one of our podcasts from day one.
There's a page that has
a podcast page. Yeah, from day one. The first podcast I did alone. Then we did some together. Then Kelly did one alone. Then you know, we've continued to do them. So a lot of our members watch it there. They don't watch it here because they can watch it anytime they want.
Right, and then they watch on YouTube.
It is on YouTube, and
both
this
channels,
always goes out to
and Larry
YouTube.
Mazza, the live.
Yes. So we hope we continue to grow, because as we do, we'll bring more and more positive, profitable things like that telegram. That's going to be very important. Telegraph. That's going to be very important. Hitting that one button and everybody getting a hot play, because you know it happens and we can't get them to you. We get you.
Well, we get them on your email, and most people have their phones have their email on them. So
yeah. Well, we just need to be able to do it all at once, and I think they all have to be under the same system.
Right. Correct.
Right. Like if you're at AT&T and you're over there and you're there, you got to get under Telegraph.
Yeah.
And we'll be able to do that. So that will be done in the off season. And we're not going away. We have plenty of sports to do, college baskets, baseball. I'd like to have it all done for baseball, because we're good in baseball.
Yeah.
We are very good in baseball. We can analyze the games every day. We get good wise guy information, just like college football.
Right.
And this year we were better with the pro football than ever before. We were real good. I mean, so in the downtime, we're going to upgrade a lot of things.
Right. We have March Madness coming up.
Right. And our members that join, they'll never get a price increase.
Right.
You know, if you're a member, early member like this, you're an ambassador to Inside Straight.
Right.
We're happy to have you down the road when more and more things happen and we get a teleprompter and we get, our own cameras and setup. The price may go up. That's not our call. We have producers that have to decide on that. So until then, and you never have to paint the house to get in, to get into Inside Straight. We talked about that.
Yeah.
You become a member, and a card carrying, an official member. You'll be a good fella with Inside Straight. So join. Be a winner.
Goodbye. Have a great week.